Okay, so we talked in the last video about gray divorce. This part doesn't matter if it's gray divorce or divorce. It's time to pack up. So if you've decided you have to sell the marital home, but generally before you list it, you need to start decluttering. And then when the house is sold, you got to pack up and move. But everything's not going to go with you, right? First of all, you're probably downsizing, so you couldn't take everything. But you have to split it with your ex-spouse. Now remember, I went through a gray divorce after over 40 years of marriage. We lived in a house that was over 6,000 square feet, and I was going to one that was right at 2,000. That's a big downsize. I will say I took things that I knew I didn't need, that I knew wouldn't fit, that are now in my garage. Because I probably should have sold it. But at the time, you're numb. And until you get in that house and you're on your own, you don't know if you're really going to need it or want it. Some things I have gone out in the garage and gotten like, yeah, I need this. Some other things I've taken from inside and put into the garage because I'm like, I might use this in my next house, but not in this one. So let's start packing up. There are going to be things that both of you want. So you have to come to terms with that. You have to agree on it. There's some things that, of course, are just for you. I will say this, don't start packing up and decluttering in your bedroom. Too many painful memories there, right? I started in a guest room. I'd never stayed in it. He did, but I never stayed in it. It was just a guest room where my guests and my kids and my grandkids stayed. So I started there. The kitchen, I thought I'll go to the kitchen next because that takes the longest. And really, that'll be easy. Don't go to the kitchen next. You made your family meals, your holiday meals. Wasn't quite ready for that. And there were things that I never would have thought he would have wanted that he did. And there were some things I thought I took that turns out when I got here I didn't get. So start with your guest bedrooms. Go to the bathrooms. Now odds are if you're in a gray divorce, no one is using those. So you can go ahead and pack them up in its entirety. Then you can go to your dining room. Especially if you have a formal dining room. Typically, you can go ahead and get that done. That's if you've got china and stuff. You got to make sure who's going to get what. Then go to your living room. There's things in the living room, like I had photo albums, wedding album. I threw that away. I pulled out a few pictures of like grandparents, but yeah. Of course, photo albums I kept because it's got my kids and, well, not my grandkids because we don't do photo albums anymore, but my kids. If you've got some expensive artwork, that's something you got to talk about with your ex. But just your regular tchotchkes and things like that, typically the woman's going to get those unless there was something that meant something to your spouse, ex-spouse. I did have a few things that were my ex-spouse's grandparents. Like we had a silver bell. His great-grandfather rang that at church every Sunday to start and stop Sunday school. That was his. I didn't take that. So there were some tchotchkes that he wanted, but the majority of the tchotchkes I got, there's a lot of memories attached to some of those, if you've had them a long time. I've got some still in boxes I think I might use one day, but I don't know. I've still got things sitting out, but I hadn't had them real long when all this happened. So they don't hold them. It's amazing what holds memories. Just a simple little tchotchke can hold a memory. Maybe your kid played with it, or your grandkid played with it, or there was a story behind when you bought it. just be prepared for those to hit you like out of the blue. So you've got all that done. Now go to your kitchen. That is going to take you the longest. You got to get that done. Find out what your spouse wants. Like I say, there was a couple of kitchen things that I never would have dreamt he wanted. I didn't end up with them, so I guess he wanted them. Get all that done. Your primary bedroom, if I had it to do over with again, I would have saved that for last. The day that the movers come and you're going to your smaller house or apartment, it's so emotional. At that point, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the tears started when I woke up that morning. Fun fact, I got the flu in the middle of moving. Like 2 o'clock that afternoon, I got cold. And, I mean, the house wasn't cold. And all of a sudden, I'm putting on my winter coat. And finally, I'm like, I'm sick. So I actually went to the hotel I was staying in. And he had to finish up. It kind of made it easier on me. Probably wasn't real fair to him. Not that I cared, but I was sick. It's just the way it was. So save your primary bedroom for last. That way, you're going to be crying when you leave. Not everybody's going to be upset and crying. This is for the people that are moving's hard. And I mean, my divorce wasn't something I wanted, so I can't speak for the people who want the divorce or are okay with it, or I just would think it's hard regardless. But like, I'm only speaking for me, hoping to help you out. When you pull out of that driveway, it's painful. So go ahead and save the bedroom for last. Now, you've already got your clothes and stuff done. So we've got you moved out, but here's what I want you to think before you move out. You've got this big house that you've raised your family in, and now you're going to a 2-bedroom condo, townhouse, or like me, a 2,000 square foot house, which is still big. I know that, but far cry from 6,000. If I could go back, I wouldn't have brought some things that I did. Now, I had my reasons. I was thinking. I had my reasons for it. If I thought a little harder, I probably wouldn't have brought them. So, trying to be logical, you can think I'm going to be logical about it and I'm going to take my emotions out of it. And for a little bit, you can. And if you do get into an argument about something, that does take the logic, makes it a little easier when you try to explain, no, this is why I'm getting it. I'm just telling you, it's going to be hard, okay? If you've got a good real estate agent, they will help you through this. They probably already know where you're moving and can say, now, Donna, is that really going to work where you're going? In my mind, yes. But when I hear somebody say that, probably not. So rely on others. That's what I can say. Rely on others. Your children might not be the best ones to rely on because they're emotionally involved. And I set some things aside for my kids to take. And let's face it, kids nowadays, they don't want your stuff. I can't imagine not having my grandmother's stuff. Kids today, they don't want your stuff. So you can't count on them taking your stuff. If they do, that's great. I know my daughter-in-law had a few things she wanted. Don't let it hurt your feelings. It's nothing against you. It's just that generation, I think. And you got to realize their parents are splitting up. And if you're in a gray divorce, they're probably adult children. Just as painful. I was an adult when my parents got divorced. I think it maybe is more painful than when you're a kid because you understand more. Now, if my young adult self could have gone to my older adult, I would have looked at it totally different. But Anyway, that's neither here nor there. You can't go back. I will tell you this, when you get to your new house, I didn't have anybody help me. I'm like, I've got movers. It'll be fine. I didn't want to ask my kids because, like I say, I knew that they were emotionally charged, if you will. I mean, I didn't ask them. They didn't volunteer and I didn't ask. I didn't ask anybody else. I'm like, the movers will put things where I want it and then I'll just unpack everything. Well, every other move had involved two people. For 40 years, it involved two people. He did his thing, I did my thing. It was a well-oiled machine. Well, we got to this house, and it was like a week and a half later before this house I could close on it. It was different. I was outside trying to direct them where everything went. Now, my boxes were labeled to a T. Bedroom 1, bedroom 2, everything. And the way that it had gone out to the truck, bedroom 1 was a stack. Living room was a stack. What I didn't realize is when they put it in the truck and when they were unloading it, it got all mixed up. They were only looking at what the top box was. I ended up with kitchen stuff upstairs in my bedrooms. And I ended up with stuff down here that needed to go upstairs. And they were gone. It was just me now. So have somebody there with you, a friend. Maybe you can hire somebody. And, you know, movers don't put things like beds together. They don't do your washer and dryer. They don't do any of that. Now, my movers, I use the same ones to move here that moved my stuff out and kept it in storage for a week. And they saw where I came from and where I went to and that I was by myself. They did put my bed together. And I didn't sleep in it for 6 weeks. But they did put it together and I had that option if I needed it. So have someone there. Like I said, whether it's a friend, a coworker, have one or two people there. Because let me tell you, when that back end of that truck closes and they pull away and it's just you, here go the emotions all over again. It's just me and I'm standing looking at this house going, what do I do? So we've gone through all this. You've decided to sell the house. You've decluttered. You've got it sold. You've packed up. You've divided things, and now you're in your new house. The journey's just beginning, my friend. Make sure you've got a good real estate agent that's going to help guide you. When I work with a divorced couple, my job doesn't end just because we closed on their new homes. Sometimes they will close on the one they're selling, and they're both going to rent. I'm still available if they need me. Maybe one's moving out of state, one's staying here. There's so many variables that can happen. Get you a real estate agent that will still be there. And if they're like me, understand where you are and where you're going. So we'll talk again next week about once you get moved in. And like I say, this is whether you've been married 10 years or you've been married 40 years like me. This all goes with it. It's just, do you have children at home or are they all grown? Are you going to be living on your own for the very first time ever in your life? Did you, like me, go from your mama and your daddy to your husband and to yourself? So next time we'll talk about, well, I'm here now, what do I do? So if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. And I should have said it before, but make sure you subscribe. Help me grow my channel. Hit that notification bell, and I'll try to get one out within a week. The spring market has started in January, so I'm a little busy right now, but I will get one out as soon as I can.